Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of the Scoundrel Shard. We're looking at what is likely my very last match on the patches that allowed us free reign to all of the cards. Going forward, we're going to have a limited selection of the cards, and that's going to make the game completely different. Let's take a look at the opening hand. We have the Radiant Weapon. Now, this is a new deck that's focused primarily on melee minions and abusing things such as splash and flying to give good trades across the board. Also, movement minions that allow us to effectively change the battlefield to our favor. In this hand, I keep the Skyborn Crusader because I want that somewhat early beefiness. The Radiant Weapon really needs a setup later to go with it, so I'm going to send that back, and the High Shepherd Cattell is just too late of a card to work with right now. So we keep the Skyborn Crusader, which unfortunately doesn't work out for us quite the way we want. We get another Skyborn Crusader and a Phantom Betrayer. Now, the Phantom Betrayer does give us a lot of board control later. We draw into the Luminary Shaman, which works well with our splash cards, but as you can see, we've got no early game. And so we're kind of sitting in this place where we have to try and just hold back a little bit. We do draw into the Shockblade Smuggler, again, working with Splash to try and get advantageous trades, but we're probably going to throw that down next turn just so that we have something on the board. He plays the Tempest Hound right out of the gate. I still don't know how I feel about using Tempest Hound for free damage. I mean, I suppose in a case like this, if you've got nothing else to play, 3 damage is 3 damage. But obviously it's going to trade with the Shockblade Smuggler here. If I didn't have another card, like if I didn't have a 3-drop, 6 damage is definitely worth it. I think in this case, though, maybe it would have been better holding it. Now, he does put down the Blightspore Seedling. He's got a really good chance of being able to knock off the Shockblade Smuggler with this. As you can see, there was only one tile around that wouldn't have been infected, so he had a 1 in 4 chance of missing. So really good odds, 75% that he was going to be able to kill it. I play the 5/5 way north. I want him to either have to walk into it, since he can't play anything past that line. He would either have to hit it or use a spell, or otherwise do something crazy in order to deal with it. But I also put it in range of being able to just walk down and smack that thing to get rid of it. So he plays the Tempo Hound, and then attacks into it, and then just trades off. This is fine with me. We have the second Skyborn Crusader. I kind of look at playing the Justicar here, since we have it down to 3, but I think that the 5/5 body is much more intimidating for him. Again, we put it in that same spot so where he either has to take another 5 to the face, or we get to walk down and just clear the Blightspore. Notice that the Blightspore, other than being, a removal spell that first time, really has not done a lot for him in this case. And that's exactly the way we want it. And you see he does just run back at this point. So we can come down, clear out the Blightspore, and now, we're in the 6 casting cost range. We have plenty of bodies to work with, and we can start setting up. So here, I go ahead and I play the Phantom Betrayer. What I'm trying to do now is give myself time to play several efficient cards. So we clear them completely out of our area, right? They'll have to take 2 turns to get close enough to really affect us. He does petrify the Phantom Betrayer, but in my mind, I've already gotten my use out of it, right? I still have all the time in the world to set up. I get to make the plays as I dictate the tempo now. We draw into Phalanx Leader, which gives us all sorts of good plays as far as setting up to attack with our hero, buffing what we already have. I believe I go with the Harbinger. Yeah, the Harbinger here, so I can set up some good trades later with the combination of Harbinger and High Shepherd Cattell. Go ahead and kill the 4/5, just to make sure that we don't have really horrible board position, and play the Light Spear Justicar. Now we're starting to build a board. We have better on-board presence, and we have good quality cards in our hand. It puts us in a really strong position right now. He plays Tiny Island Finya, which at first blush looks really, really bad for us. But he plays it in what I think is kind of a weird spot. He's going for the Lightspear Justicar, but by playing it in this area right here, it means that there's no way that that we can play something here and make him waste an attack. And that means that our hero is completely safe from taking a free 7 damage, which is exactly what we do. Playing the Luminary Shaman on the Lightspear Justicar, so now if he attacks the Justicar, he trades. If he attacks the Luminary Shaman, he trades. He only gets to kill 1 minion, and in this case, it's going to be a 3 casting cost minion that's going to give us a spell in return if he goes for the Lightspear Justicar. And, well, I guess he could attack and move forward. That gives us really, really solid position going forward here. So he's got the Quartermaster held back. He's got the Tiny Island Finya. We have the Harbinger, which, remember, when the Harbinger moves, it does 2 damage to everything around it. And that means that we can use it for good AoE splash damage. I think I'm looking at here at just using it to clear out the Quartermaster, putting another 2 damage on the... Oh, that's right, he plays the Stone Cold Ceiling. I forgot that's what happened here. So that obviously changes the way that we approach this situation, because we know that it's going to drop a 3-1. We could potentially play the Stone Call Ceiling and get rid of its 3-1, but he plays the Tinkermaster behind it. So now he's got really good board aggression, but we still have a 7-6 and the 2-3 on the board. We're not doing too shabby ourselves. So at this point, we have to kind of figure out how we want to deal with this board position. We have 9 mana, which means we could play a 6-drop and a Phalanx Leader, or we could play High Shepherd Cattell to give all of our minions an extra 2 damage so that we trade more efficiently. Or we could play a Phalanx Leader in order to be able to ping off more efficiently, although likely we're just going to want to ping off that Angry Stone so that we can start moving up into that territory. Okay, so we play the Luminary Shaman on the Harbinger. This lets us clear off the Angry Stone and take care of the Stone Called Ceiling. And then also, if that Tinkermaster goes to trade with it, it's going to go down to 1 damage and we can ping it off. So that gives us a lot of value out of a 3-drop and lets us set up our beef on the other side here so that we can really look at moving in effectively. Additionally, we can still drop the Phalanx Leader so that we can start buffing our attack force, which we're going to push in up on this side. The Tinkermaster, he's kind of in a weird spot in here. He can trade with the Harbinger. Oh, he comes up with the Precise Detonation. This is pretty bad for us, because now the Tinkermaster can just walk up and trade there, although trading with the 8-2 is not particularly good. But he still got pretty good damage out of that Precise Detonation. He does decide to back off the Tinkermaster, which lets us really look at building our board presence on this side of the map. Especially since we have a second Phalanx Leader and a High Shepherd Cattell, we can get really high attack damage going, and we get into another Harbinger, which is going to give us the mobility we need to get around the map effectively. So we move in here. I move the Phalanx Leader over. I'm looking at moving the Phalanx Leader over because I know if I get double Phalanx Leader down, I can just ping off that Quartermaster for 3. So we get an absolutely free kill there. And I can put the High Shepherd Cattell. Now I have this nice little conga line going over here. This makes it to where if he's got another blast, it's not going to affect all the way at the top. It will affect all of these guys. But instead he goes for the Penumbra Assassin to kill off the low health minion. And moves forward and just deals straight up 8 with the Tinkermaster. And then plays a Lifespring Seedling. I don't really agree with this play. Because, I mean, clearly we have enough on the board that we can attack effectively. and we can trade super effectively. But we get the Radiant Weapon on top of that. Radiant Weapon gives one of our minions Splash, which means we can come up and attack the 4/4, and it's going to do damage to both the Tinker Master and to the Life Spore Seedling. I do 3 to the Tinker Master just to get it into damage range, although we didn't quite need to do that because of the +1 on the Phalanx Leader to the High Shepherd Cattell. And then we just deal 9 damage, clearing out all 3 of those in one shot. And now we have overwhelming board position. We back that up with a Harbinger. We get to attack for 6 there. I misplayed there a little bit. I should have moved up with my Phalanx Leader first and then done the attacks. I would have gotten an additional 1 damage, and I also should have activated my ability on one of the Phalanx Leaders to get another additional damage. So we could have gotten him down to 4 at this point. But that's why we do these reviews, so that we can see the plays that we should have made and be aware of them going forward. So he uses the Wind Step to get himself clear on the other side of the map, and then plays a second Life Spore Seedling so he can start healing up. Even a Devoted Curate to give him damage shield. He is in 100% I have to block myself in mode. We get the Evangelist, which is super strong here because we can move that to the high ground and start pinging shields off. We've got the Harbinger, which we can also use to take out shields. And we should, I don't think we quite have line of sight to be able to ping off a shield just with our hero power. I'm not sure about this Harbinger play. We do kill the Life Spore off very quickly, which is important. We don't want him gaining a lot of life, and we do clear off the shield off the Devoted Curate, but it is a straight-up sacrifice on the Harbinger. If he can trade with the Devoted Curate, which would be awesome for us, because it would be 2 for 1 in that case, and we have shut down the life gain. We don't have any range, so we do need to be careful of that. We do get the Devoted Curate out, but he does have that Vein Waker in a very good spot, so he can start popping out minions, and we have to start trying to move our way over. He steps up with the Queen's Guard and the Shock Troops. I don't know why he played the Shock Troops so far back, other than I guess he just did not want to waste them. But we do have the Light Spear here, and we've got both the Phalanx Leaders. So assuming we oh, and the Evangelist. So we only have to do 3 damage to the Queen's Guard in order to ping it off. So I go ahead and use the Light Spear to take out the Silver Tempest. Oh, that's right, I have the Reckoning. This is, I think this is a decent play. It keeps the Queen's Guard from being able to do much damage to us. We do take damage to the Luminary Shaman, and we do 3 damage to ourselves. But it makes this guy pretty useless, because we can just hit him with our hero from range. And it means that we only have to get 1 hit on the Vein Waker, which is really good because he's going to keep doing things like that, where for 2 mana he gets out free bodies. So he moves even farther in the corner because he knows if we get anything over there, he will take damage. The other thing I should have considered doing is, after the Reckoning, moved this way, so that I was getting more aggressive into his face. I think that was a pretty clear positioning error. We get the Illuminator Initiate to get the free kill onto the 5/1, and here I start moving out very aggressively. I take a free shot at the Silver Tempest. Although I think he just, no matter what, trades with the Illuminator Initiate. I probably should have played that back here somewhere so that I could have just kited it around, or just eaten the 3 damage to the face, so that I had an extra minion. But probably not a huge deal in the long term. So that being said, we are in excellent board position. We have the Luminary Shaman back here. We've got a whole army, but he comes up with the second precise detonation. And this is something I should have played around. We'd already seen one precise detonation. We knew he had another on the board, and we just lose a huge amount. Both of our phalanx leaders and our High Shepherd could tell all of our pump just immediately there. He plays the Comper Tempest and then the Pebbleborn. This was sort of a desperation play because I wanted to shut down his token creation. So he's got the 4/3, which isn't horrendous to us, but is certainly going to take the shield off our 4/3 in the process. Hopefully we draw a spell so that we can deal with that. I know this guy's just going to walk over and ping me for another 2. And actually, he uses that to go ahead and take the shield off of the 4/3 using Windstep. So that allows him to go ahead and trade with his Copper Tempest. So now we're almost down to parity on the board. We'll be able to walk up and ping that. And now he's got a Shop Troop on the board. So this leaves us in pretty rough shape. We vaporize stone, which lets us for sure ping the Copper Tempest. We get the second Evangelist, which is going to help us on the ground, and we are able to clear out. We have to trade the 7/3 for the 5/5. So now we're up, but just a little bit, and it's a tense situation right here. He comes with the Cultivator. I don't know why he played the Cultivator there, other than he just really needed the Stonecall Seedling, and he plays really good positioning on the Stonecall Seedling. By putting it on the high ground, 2 out of 3 chance that anything that it produces is going to be on the high ground as well, so it won't be affected by the Evangelist. Light Spear Justicar is a good draw for us. We go ahead and move to the Evangelist to the high ground, because that limits him to really this island, right? It means that we've controlled his positioning, and we can look to either start pinging him off directly because we have ranged and he doesn't, or to mounting an offense. I go ahead and play the Light Spear Justicar back far enough that the Angry Stone can't trade into it. I really want to ping that off instead of... I really want it to have to walk up and then die to the Evangelist for free. He gets a Quartermaster here, which I'm pretty okay trading with the Evangelist. The Inspiring Banner hurts a lot, especially when combined with the wind on the Angry Stone, because now he can walk that Angry Stone and attack that Justicar and get it down to 1. But it means that we do get a spell off of it, and we can kill the Quartermaster for free with the spell. We get another Vaporized Stone, which is absolutely needed for the card draw, because we're kind of dead on cards in hand, and we've got to keep playing threats. We do get to open attack him in this case, which is going to make him rethink his positioning as far as the Angry Stone. And we get a Vigil Keeper, which is excellent because we can drop it and then Light Spear the Quartermaster and get the damage shield on the Vigil Keeper. So the Inspiring Banner is annoying, but he's got to be very careful about his placement because, again, we can just straight up ping him, and he needs to be using something to block that. The Life Spark, however, is super annoying because we thought we were getting close to taking care of that Inspiring Banner with our Evangelist. Now he's got a 5/8 threat on the board, and that puts us in a little bit of a difficult position. Additionally, he shows up with the Pebbleborn, and it really makes it quite tough. And he walks his Angry Stone to start setting up a blocking line here so that I can no longer ping him. He moves behind his Stonecall Ceiling so that it can start soaking damage for him as well, but I draw the Radiant Weapon. I don't know if you can see it, but that's lethal. We can pump the Vigil so it goes to 5, and then we can use the Radiant Weapon to attack the Stonecall Seedling, which will put 5 damage on the enemy champion and open up line of sight to him from our hero, which is lethal. I really enjoyed this game, and I really am getting used to this idea of using movement and splash in decks to create very powerful swingy turns. I'll be very interested to see what the ladder is like once progression launches later today. I think it's going to completely change the quality of decks, and I think it may make it may completely change what decks are popular on the ladder, because it's going to focus more on decks that don't have a lot of rares and legendaries and epics, and more on decks that have quality commons and uncommons. I hope you've enjoyed this, and we will see you tomorrow.